One of the biggest deductions actually is business use of your personal vehicle. Every time you drive a mile for business purposes is a 51-cent tax deduction. Now, that doesn't seem like very much, but what if you put 6, 7, 8,000 miles on your car that are business miles? 8,000 business miles is going to result in a $4,000 tax deduction, which translates into about $1,000 cash in additional tax refunds. It's a huge tax deduction, and record keeping for vehicle use is one of the easiest of all the categories of tax deductions for home-based business owners. Another one that I love is hiring your kids in your home-based business. This is one that really isn't very well known at all, but your kids can be as young as the age of 6, according to the tax courts, and still do viable work in your home-based business. How does that help you? Well, if you've got a child you're paying a $10 a week allowance to, for example, you've got to go to work, your W-2 job, and earn about $17 to bring home $10 in take-home pay to pay them the allowance. But what if you came home on allowance day and they'd done $10 worth of work in your home-based business? Now the $10 you pay them is tax deductible as wages. And get this, the money they receive from you is tax-free income to them, because any miner in America can earn up to $5,800 tax-free. So the money you pay them as wages, that's tax deductible to you. The money they earn from you is tax-free because they're a miner. No taxes are ever paid on that money. That's the best deal going. And there's so many other advantages to hiring your children that go beyond the tax savings. It's, bringing the family together to work. It's a family business now. It's not mom's or dad's business and the kids are watching. It's a family business. Kids are learning how to balance their own budget. They're learning how to balance a checkbook. They're learning all kinds of very cool things. One of the most important things they're learning is, as an employee of mom and dad, they can only earn more money in 2 different ways. And both of them require mom's or dad's permission. One is working harder. Say, Dad, I'm making $20 a week. I want to make $25. What can I do? If you say, yes, you can, then they got more work to do and they can make more money. Or if they have a more highly valued position, let's say they're, instead of doing your processing your mail, they're managing your database. That's obviously a highly valued job. What do they learn? They're learning from that 2 things. One is that no employee is ever paid what they're worth. They're paid what the job is worth. So if I want to make more money, I've got to work harder, or I've got to find something that's worth more to my employer. And both of those, by the way, require the employer's permission. But the second thing they're learning is they're watching mom and dad, who have no restriction on how much money they can make. Nobody tells mom or dad how much money they can make in their home-based business. And so they're learning the difference between being an employee and being self-employed and the opportunities available. So I just love this deduction. Another one I want to mention quickly is that we talked about hiring your kids. How about hiring your spouse? If you hire your spouse in a home-based business, they can work as little as 2 hours a week and qualify the entire family to be able to write off 100% of all out-of-pocket healthcare expenses. That includes your insurance premiums, co-pays, things that are not covered by your insurance coverage. It's all out-of-pocket healthcare expenses for your entire family. You only get that tax deduction if you have a home-based business. And there are a couple more I want to mention, because really, let's talk about the top 6. We talked about 4. The other 2 of the top 6 are business travel. You can write off business travel even when you combine business travel with personal travel. Let's say you go a day or 2 early on a business trip, or stay a day or 2 late to visit family or friends or sightsee or whatever. Even combining personal with business travel, you can almost always deduct 100% of it as business expenses as long as you plan it properly before you go on the trip. And the final deduction is business entertainment. Qualifying for business entertainment deductions is now much more liberal than it used to be. Record keeping is now very specific, which makes it easy to be IRS compliant. But there are also ways that you can deduct a lot of things you wouldn't have thought of, like entertaining in your own home. In fact, if you take somebody out to dinner, you can write off 50%. It's been that way for like the 1970s. But if you entertain that same person in your own home, it's 100% deductible. So business travel, business entertainment are the final 2 of the top 6.
Yeah, those 6 Karen and I have used over the last 6 years since we've had our own home-based business to save thousands of dollars in taxes. And anybody who has a regular W-2 job can bring home an extra $300 to $500 a month in their pay. If a person starts a home-based business today, how soon will they be able to qualify for home business tax deductions? When will they be able to start seeing the increase in their take-home pay, Ron?
The answer, Byron, is immediately. As soon as a person decides they're in a home-based business and they have a product or service that they're ready to sell or to offer to people, they're in a home-based business. The day that happens, they start saving money in taxes. There's nothing magic about waiting. Some people say, should I wait until January 1st to start my home-based business? And I say, only if you want to overpay your taxes between now and January 1st. Because the very day you get into a home-based business, whether it's March 15th, July 2nd, October 1st, it makes no difference. The day you get into home-based business, you begin qualifying that day for tax breaks. But there's a huge cost of not getting into a home-based business, and that cost is you will be overpaying your taxes by about $100 a week, about $20 a day in overpaid taxes if you do not have a home-based business.
Wow, that's amazing. So you're telling me it actually costs you $20 a day not owning a home-based business?
Absolutely. In fact, what I recommend for people to get a sense of how this works is if you talk to somebody about joining you in a home-based business and they say, I need to think about it, I'm not sure I'm ready yet, just suggest that starting tomorrow morning, when they get up to go to work in the morning, right before they leave to go out to their car, open the kitchen window and throw a $20 bill out the window and watch it blow away in the breeze down to the neighbor's house. And by the way, I want to be that neighbor because do that every day. Do that every day until it dawns on you, until it really sinks in that you're throwing away about $20 a day in overpaid taxes just because you don't have a home-based business. And as we just talked about, when can you stop that? The day you get in a home-based business. So you can start one today or you can start one tomorrow. But if you start it tomorrow, you're throwing away $20.
Right. So to learn all the information you need to learn to actually qualify for these tax advantages, is it time-consuming, a tedious task?
No, it's not difficult because the hard part's already been done. It's now been translated into plain English. The rules and the record-keeping requirements and all that is now in plain English. So if you're playing baseball, you know that anytime you play baseball, there's always 3 bases, right? And if you don't touch one of those bases, you don't get the home run. If you touch the bases, you do. Well, the plain English guide that you referred to earlier, Home Business Tax Savings Made Easy, tell you how many bases there are and what they are for each of the tax deductions. It's literally a checkoff list. It's very easy and very quick, not time-consuming at all, to learn these tax breaks.
You know, one of the reasons why I was attracted to this industry was that there wasn't a lot of paperwork involved in building a significant business. Is there a lot of paperwork involved in keeping these books?
Actually, no. There are specific record-keeping requirements because actually there are laws that say that you don't get any tax deductions unless you have documentation to prove it. Well, I can show you ways of keeping documentation in less time than it takes to say documentation. Literally, I've got systems that I can teach where you'll spend about as much time per day as you spend brushing your teeth in the morning. And with that amount of time dedicated every day, you'll have bulletproof records by the end of the year. So is record keeping important? Absolutely. It's critical, but it doesn't have to be time-consuming, tedious, or boring.
So, Ron, what I'm taking from this whole conversation is that even in the state of the economy, the way things are, things being tougher out there, it's almost like the government will pay for you to get started in a home-based business.
That's exactly right. Visualize this. Imagine you're a small business with a front door and that money goes in and out of that front door. Inside that front door is a bucket on the left, a bucket on the right. One's labeled bills and one's labeled profit. Now, as revenue comes into this business, the money goes into the revenue bucket until there's enough there to pay the bills for that month. After that, the rest of the money goes in the profit bucket. If Uncle Sam is paying for all your bills, the bills bucket's already filled. So every dollar, every penny that comes in from your business that month goes into the profit bucket. Every penny that you earn in your business is profit because Uncle Sam will give you enough tax deductions, enough tax refunds to pay for the cost of running your business. That's why I can't imagine anyone who thinks this through saying, I don't want to run a home-based business, because when they make that decision, they're choosing to continue overpaying their taxes by $3,000 to $5,000 to $6,000 a year for the rest of their working life. I can't imagine that.
Okay, so Uncle Sam will pay for you to have a home-based business, but how much time do you actually physically have to spend running that home-based business to qualify for these tax advantages, Ron?
To qualify for the tax advantages, the law requires simply spending a minimum of 3 to 4 hours a week on a regular and consistent basis. It is not time-consuming, but the benefit for spending that small amount of time is about $100 a week extra cash in your pocket.
So, Ron, I can't thank you enough for spending some time with me. You know, the book, when I got my hands on it 6 years ago, it changed my life. The information you share with me continues to evolve and change my life. And I just want to really tell you thank you for spending this afternoon with me, talking and sharing more with me. Just closing thoughts. For the person who's not in a home-based business yet, what should be the final statement that I say to them to get them to see in home-based business what I see?
Throw a $20 bill out your window every morning until it dawns on you that you're wasting money in taxes. We are literally overpaying our taxes. I believe in paying every penny I owe in taxes, but not a penny more. And people without a home-based business are overpaying their taxes by thousands of dollars a year. They can begin slashing their taxes at the legal minimum the minute they get into a home-based business. So what I would say to them is contact the person that gave you access to this audio and ask them, how can I get started today? Because I'm tired of throwing away $20 bills every day.
So, Ron, I've been down to the San Diego Harbor. I visited you on your yacht. I've known you for a while now. It's obvious that you don't need to do this for money anymore. What's the driving force that gets you out to still get this message out to folks?
Personally, Byron, I believe that it's my obligation to be a good steward of God's money. And I think that if people are overpaying their taxes accidentally, That is, they're overpaying their taxes because they don't know that they don't have to. They know there's another way. And I haven't told them. I'm not doing my job. So I want to simply inform people what's possible so that they can begin saving the money that they're overpaying in taxes. I always ask people to promise themselves one thing, and I don't know whether they do or not, but I say the promise I'd like you to make yourself is, if I can show you a way to put an extra $5,000 to $6,000 extra cash in your pocket every single year from tax savings, would you take the first 10% of that and do something good for the world? Buy books for the local library. Donate it to a cause you believe in. Donate it to cancer research. Do it for something you believe in, but make the world a better place with just 10% of the savings. And then I believe you're being a better steward of God's money.
Ron, thanks for doing your part to make the world a better place. I believe with all my heart that's exactly what you're doing. You're sharing information. You're the only person in the world that I know who's spent 10 years of their life gathering this information and building value and owning a home-based business and then teaching people how to use those funds to live an appropriate and meaningful life. And I just hope that this CD falls into the hands of folks that can help make a difference in the world today. And just really want you to know how much I appreciate you spending this afternoon with us. And just thank you again, Ron.